Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
What's up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, a YouTube channel for fans, by fans. SoCal Kings lose tonight in a heartbreaker, 133-131. Huge game for Terence Davis, but it doesn't matter. Kings lose.
This game was like watching the All-Star game, and I don't mean that because of the caliber of players on the court. I mean that because it was a pickup game. Whoever made the most open shots in this game was going to win. That's what the Pistons did at the end of the night, and De'Aaron Fox can't hit the game-tying shot.
And we'll be right back with your Nightcap. All right, we're here. We're drinking beers, and we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. If you're a Kings fan, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you enjoy awesome Kings content like this, consider subscribing to the channel with Calvin and I. All right, Cal. So first thoughts on the game.
Well, my first thoughts on the game are I love Tyrese Haliburton. I really do. He's a great player. But I just can't help but wonder what this team would look like if they had drafted Saddiq Bey instead of him. I was really big on Saddiq Bey coming out of that draft. Thought he was a great fit for Sacramento. He had a hell of a game tonight.
He did. I think the Detroit Pistons showed why they didn't want to trade for Marvin Bagley for Saddiq Bey. And, we got to see Marvin Bagley back. We got to see Damian Jones. Tyrese is still out. They needed him. But, Harrison Barnes is doing his thing. Rashawn Holmes is getting back into the offense, but huge game for Terence Davis tonight. It was a new career high, 35 points, 7 threes. He played out of his mind.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter at the end. I mean, we're talking about the worst offensive team in the league in Detroit. Worst in every field goal percentage category you can have. Overall, 3-point, 2-point. A team that obviously struggles to score. Jeremy Grant doesn't play. Cade Cunningham plays 11 minutes through 3 quarters. Number 1 scoring rookie in the league. Yep. Only in there for 11 minutes through 3 quarters. They give up 133 points to this team.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What's up, Mike? What's up, Gothan? Fred, I see you guys there. Sharing is caring. What is up, Lane? King Gibby. Awesome to see you guys all in the chat. Thanks for commenting in. And B. Walston. Team is a joke. I mean, they were the other night on Saturday Night Live, and they, back-to-back losses to two of the worst teams in the entire NBA. I guess that would go to tell you that the Kings are one of the worst teams in the NBA, right?
I mean, it's hard to argue with that over the past 15 years.
It's definitely giving Monty some more, a little bit more push and shove to make something happen. There's a ton of reports that came out over the past couple days. We're going to talk about that in the next section once we wrap up this game. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. All right, Cal, you want to jump here into the box scores?
Yep. As you mentioned, Terence Davis had a huge night. 35 points, career high, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 7 of 13 from 3. De'Aaron Fox, I mean, you look at the box score for both of these teams, and like I said, it's like watching the All-Star game. I mean, 27 points for Fox, 20 for Harrison Barnes. Davion Mitchell had 13 off the bench. Bagley had 17. Tons of free throws. Kings attempted 44 free throws tonight.
Wow.
And they missed 13 of them.
That's wild.
All they needed to make was 3 more of them to win this game.
I mean, you could say that about a lot of games.
That's true, but when
yeah.
you get to the line 44 times, I mean, I'd be surprised, or I would be interested to know how many times a team this season has attempted over 40 free throws in a game. That's a ton. The refs were handing out fouls like Oprah hands out gifts today. It was technicals, everything was flying.
Yep. The crazy thing for me is that you look at the starting five, only 2 of those guys had assists.
Yeah.
So 0 assists for Bagley, 0 for Barnes, 0 for Rashawn Holmes. I thought they were playing better team ball as of late, but seems like De'Aaron Fox had to do all the passing tonight, 8 assists for him.
I mean, like I said, this was a glorified pickup game. It was who can break their man down one-on-one, step backs, open threes, layup after layup, dunks. You know, if you like defense, you did not want to watch this game.
Corey Joseph had a revenge game against Sacramento tonight. He 19 points for him, 9 assists. But as you mentioned, Saddiq Bey stole the show with 30 big points, 5 of 9 from three-point range. And he was all over the place. We even saw him there at the end trying to get that ball away from Davion Mitchell, which ended up being a jump ball.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a really solid player. I hope that his career doesn't go to waste in Detroit because I like him a lot.
I mean, at this point, it seems like they are doing a little bit better than us.
Well, not in the win column.
But hey, yeah, I mean, they're still missing Grant for a while. You know, he's coming back soon. There's been a ton of talk about him in trades. It's going to be hard to get through this first section without talking about any of these trades because apparently he is the most coveted guy in the trade market this offseason, or the prize. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. What jumped out for you as far as team stats?
Just the fact that the Kings couldn't capitalize on the offensive night they had. I mean, at halftime, as I mentioned, Cade Cunningham only plays 10 minutes in the first half. No Jeremy Grant in this game. The Kings had 22 points at the free throw line at halftime. They had over 35 points in the paint. They weren't at the time shooting that well from 3, but you just can't lose this game against a team like Detroit. You simply cannot.
And yet you do. I think, when I was first watching the very start of this game, I'm like, okay, it's 9-9. The Kings are actually started out pretty well as opposed to how they've started out so flat lately. And then the whole rest of that first quarter was just horrible for them. De'Aaron Fox got a technical with like 7 minutes left in the first. And I'm like, uh-oh, here we go again. He's in trouble. He just came off of getting ejected in the last game. Now he's already in trouble, and he's still barking at the referee. And I'm just like, dude, stop talking. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, they were just handing out technicals, throwing them to people on the bench. Mm-hmm. Somebody in the referee staff had a bad day or woke up on the wrong side of the bed because
that I never like to see I can kind of understand why it happens, but I've never liked to see a technical for guys hanging on the rim.
Yeah. The Metu.
I got teed up one time for hanging on the rim, and I always felt like the referees were just jealous of you. They can't do that, so they give you a tee for hanging on the rim.
There's certain situations where hanging from the rim is safer because you got guys underneath you and they got to get out of the way, so you don't roll your ankle or something. But it was a little excessive for Metu. But I understand he was excited. It was a nice dunk, so a little bit extra there. But moving on, the Kings were down 26-33 at the end of that first quarter. And then they completely switched it around in the second quarter. And I'm like, oh, wow, this is a whole new Kings team. Normally we're used to seeing first half Kings and second half Kings. But now we saw first quarter and second quarter Kings, and they were completely different teams. They set a season high 45 points in that second quarter. And Terence Davis had 15 of those, which I thought was really, really big. I saw the Kings playing a lot of zone defense, trying to prevent Detroit from making a lot of those outside shots, stuff like that. And then a big 17-4 run.
Both teams could have played with 6 guys on the court on defense tonight. I don't think they would have stopped anyone.
And a 17-4 run by the Kings in that second quarter as well to take the lead in this game. And they went into halftime with a lead. And then
but still
falls apart again.
All of those things you just said. 45-point second quarter. We already talked about the team stats, all the good things offensively they did. in the first half. They still never led by more than 9 in the first half. I mean, they just got zero separation from this team, and that was a bad omen, I felt like, going into halftime. They should have been up by 15 at least.
Is there a certain thing that you can point to other than just not playing defense?
That's what it comes down to. I mean, they didn't commit a bunch of turnovers tonight. That's usually something that we say, oh, well, it really plagued the Kings this time. You know, they turned the ball over too many times, live ball turnovers, all of that stuff. It was simply just no one wanted to stop anyone. Davion Mitchell is the only player on this team that knows how to close out at the three-point line. The only one. And that's part of the reason why the worst three-point shooting team in the league shot 42% from 3 tonight.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Speaking of Davion, 13 points for him tonight, 4 assists, a rebound, a block. He only had 1 turnover. I like what I saw from him. You know, everyone's all, you know, I think he got everyone's, expectations for him really high after the summer league in the preseason. So everyone thought he was just going to be this guy that was going to come in, play lockdown defense, have 20 points a night, shoot 50% from the field. And they forget that he's still a rookie. He's not even, he's like halfway through his rookie season in the NBA. And I think games like tonight definitely give him things to build off of and gives him confidence to move on. And I thought he did a great job tonight.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw from him tonight. It's, we've said it over and over and over again. When a guy plays that hard all the time on both ends of the floor, it's hard to really ever say that you weren't satisfied with the effort that he gives.
Yep. Speaking of effort, let's talk about Buddy Hield. You know, I praise Buddy for his work ethic because the guy seems to really love basketball. He loves getting up shots. He's even getting up shots at timeouts and whenever he can. And he seems to have a great work ethic. And 19 minutes tonight, 0 of 2 from the field, 2 points, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, 2.
Too bad.
Too bad. The magic number for Buddy Hield tonight was 2. And what happened? Like, I looking at the stats here, and I'm like, did I even see Buddy Hield in the game? I'm like trying to remember like moments I saw him in the game, and I can't even name a handful of them.
Yeah. Well, I can name every terrible shot he chucked up at the rim tonight. This is just another one of those games where the Pistons did a good job of running Buddy Hield off the three-point line. And when you do that for enough possessions in a row, a guy like Buddy Hield who has to get shots up, he gets trigger happy. And then he starts throwing up those terrible, terrible shots that are either way too early in the shot clock or they're just not a good shot to put up in general. He starts forcing it over and over and over again. And then I think that as a team, you can see it on people's faces, particularly Alvin Gentry's. Every time he does something stupid like that, they just immediately start to get sucked out of it a little bit. And I feel like maybe they don't look for him as much anymore. And the other problem is he's not good enough as a playmaker, so you can't give him the ball and let him just try to create in space because he ends up just dwindling down the shot clock. He can't get open. He can't get by his guy. And he's not looking to give the ball up to anybody either. Yeah. He's just looking to get his shot up.
Yeah, which is surprising that he only took 2 shots tonight. Maybe people didn't want to pass him the ball or didn't want to get him involved. But part of me thinks that because of Terence Davis, he was shooting lights out, especially from three-point range, that maybe they were just routing all that offense to him.
Well, it definitely took away from some of the minutes that Buddy Hield was going to get as well because Terence Davis was just red hot. And Harrison Barnes had a good offensive game as well. So,
yeah, we're going to talk trades in the next section, so just stick around. We got to wrap up this game. I know it's a horrible loss, and everyone wants to move on, but we got to talk about it a little bit first, and then the next section we'll talk about trades. We'll talk about all the big news that happened today and tonight as well. B. Walson says, so many empty seats at the game tonight.
It's been a theme for the past couple months.
Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think everybody is just starting to lose faith more than in years past. And it's hard to blame anyone for that. You know, it's been a long time of tough basketball to watch in Sacramento. And I think everybody, you know, we're all human. Everyone has their limits. So.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys for all tuning in here to group therapy session. We're all Kings fans. Sometimes we have beer, and it helps a little bit. But, you know, just talking. I love hearing from you guys in the chat here. I see Brendan. He says, you know, Fox needs to get traded. I never trust him in clutch moments. This is like the 5th blown game by him this season. He's not the only one on this team that's blown games this season either. You know, we've seen a lot of dumb plays, a lot of turnovers. We've seen a couple really good executed game-winning plays this season, but we've seen a lot of boneheaded plays as well.
Yeah, we have. And for me, again, it just comes down to if the Kings would try to work on their biggest flaws, they wouldn't be in as many of those positions where they could fumble the game away, literally, as they are. You know, I realize there are a lot of teams in the league that are better than Sacramento. And if the final score tonight, or if the final score of the next game against Milwaukee is 133 to 131, I'm going to be a lot more excited about that than I am as the final score being 133 to 131 against the Pistons. But in games like these, I mean, there's just simply no excuse.
Makami says, "Hey, Monty."
Hey, Monty. The worst offensive team in the NBA just put up 133 points on the Kings tonight on the road.
Yeah, lots and lots of legs. Says Fox needs athletes around him. We're going to talk about that in the next section, so make sure you guys stay tuned. We'll get through this one quickly. I know you guys want to talk about trades, but we'll get through there. But yeah, you know, it's tough watching this Kings team, and I think it's about time we bring back the Sacramento basketball team, and maybe we call them the Sacramento basketball team for the rest of the night. I think you got to turn around that other Peja doll. He's looking forward.
Let it slip there.
He can't be looking at the camera. I might even this guy around too. Yeah, really tough game, man. It really sucks losing to these teams where you know you're a better team. You know, maybe they're not a better team, but the Kings have way more talent than this Detroit Pistons team, especially because their best player is missing. And this is how many times do we lose to an effing team whose best player is not on the court?
Yeah, but this one hurts even more again because all those other games where the team's best player wasn't on the court, those teams still have other legit players. I mean, the Hawks have a bunch of really legit players. The Grizzlies, you know, obviously they're a very talented team, even though we played them twice without John Morant. Detroit's got nobody. They have 3 players on their team. I mean, Corey Joseph he's a good pro, but
Sadiq Bey.
They got 3 players on this team.
He should have been.
2 of them didn't play tonight, basically. Cade Cunningham pretty much didn't play tonight.
Sadiq Bey should have been the guy that they circled tonight, but I think they circled Cade Cunningham instead, and they just let everything else go.
That's the point. Like, Sadiq Bey, playing this team, you should beat them even if Sadiq Bey scores 30 points because the rest of the team
is crap.
Is not that good.
Yeah. You want to go through your keys to the game?
Sure. First one was Sadiq Bey is the key matchup, 30 points. And, you know, out of all the Pistons hit a ton of threes tonight. Out of all of the threes that they hit, Sadiq Bey's were actually his threes were a few of the more contested threes that I saw.
And he still shot over 50%.
I mean, he's a solid player. Number 2 was share the ball. I don't know exactly how many assists Kings had tonight. 22. It's not terrible, but they had 32 the last time they played this team. They still managed to score 130 points. That just shows you how little defense was played. And then number 3 was jumpstart in the first quarter. And You said it was a little bit better start to the first quarter, but I did not feel like they came out looking that great. Both teams weren't shooting really well to start. It was sloppy. There were a ton of fouls. And even though the Kings were able to come back with a big second quarter and go into the locker room with the lead, like I said, they should have taken control of the game much early on and kind of put this thing away pretty much going into halftime. With how easily they got to the basket, how easily they got to the free throw line, it should not have been a close game.
2 more stops, and this game would have been over for Sacramento, but they can't get stops. And just like we said in the last game, even if you do get stops, when you don't get rebounds and guys have multiple opportunities at the basket, it doesn't matter how far you hold a team down. You know, the Pistons shot 50% from the field tonight. You said 41% from three-point range, almost 42%. Even if they shoot bad, but you give up rebounds, it's the same thing. But tonight they did both. They allowed good shooting and they allowed rebounds. And it just, I'm seeing a lot of angry people here in the chat. Trade, blow it up. The fans have left the building. The fat lady is singing. Fred, I feel you. I feel you. All right, I think on that note, we should move on. You want to move on to section 2 and talk about trades?
Yeah, I think we can.
And give the people what they want? All right, guys, we'll be right back.